Hi everybody, today you're going to be watching a beautiful video of me and the one and only Stefani Stevens. She used to work as a nurse and she worked with children, as you do if you are a nurse, and she's going to be telling us what she loved, what she didn't love so much, just the aspect, like the general aspect of working with children in a hospital setting, which can be, kind of hard considering like there might be sick children or hurt children, that's kind of sad, even like infants and toddlers and all that stuff. So yes, she's going to be telling us just pretty much all the basics and mostly what she had to do when she was working with kids and infants, babies, toddlers, everything. Anybody who walked into the ER, into the hospital, she had a chance of meeting and getting to know. So that's very cool, and yes, that is all.
My interview?
Actually, yeah, it's her interview. What skills and abilities are necessary to be a nurse?
Oh, a lot. You have to be gentle. You have to be very quick on your feet. You have to be able to calculate very quickly. You have to be able to keep your cool in very stressful situations. Let's see, what else? You have to really know your stuff, because pretty much a nurse does most of the work for a doctor. And then the doctor just kind of comes in and confirms what the nurse has already, kind of suspected might be wrong with the patient, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of knowledge involved, and it's not just memorization, it's knowledge that you have to actually know.
What education and training did you do at all levels?
At all levels, okay. Well, and this is something that I actually talk to a lot of my students about. An associate's degree RN actually gets paid the same as a bachelor's degree RN. The only difference is the associate's RN goes straight into nursing classes. So you're going to do your pharmacology and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas if you're getting a bachelor's degree, you're going to do all your general ed stuff, then your nursing stuff. So I did it as an associate's because you get paid the same. And while I was actually nursing, if you get in with a good employer, they will reimburse you to add on that bachelor's degree. So therefore, no debt.
Very smart. Okay. What are the responsibilities of a worker in this occupation?
Ooh, a lot. You triage the patient, and that means when the patient comes in, you will ask them, all of the, of course you'll take their vital signs, all that good stuff, and then you will ask them, what are your symptoms? You'll kind of ask a lot of leading questions, questions that you have to kind of know how all the systems work together to be able to know what questions to ask. So that if somebody's coming in and they think that they have one illness, you might be able to ask other questions that they never even thought about and really find out that it's something else.
Okay. What are some possibilities for advancement?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. If you have a bachelor's RN, you can add on your master's RN, which means that you're a nurse practitioner. If you have a bachelor's RN, you can also work critical care for a year and then go back to the CRNA program, which is a certified registered nurse anesthetist, and that's big money. You can do that. And the university over here, Union, has an excellent program for that. So there's a lot of advancement because you're always going to need nurses in the field.
So other than like hospitals, like what kind of locations? Like I know you can do clinics, like
Clinics. You can do heck, even the American Heart Association, when they come and do blood drives, those are nurses. Okay. So they come, they do mobile services. I have seen where you can go to like factories when they have like health fairs and things like that, where they do like free vital signs or free blood work, cholesterol checks, those kind of things. So there are tons of places where so you don't have to stay at like one particular clinic, and a lot of doctors' offices now have all of the different satellite clinics, so they can go to different cities, and that way the patient doesn't have to always come to them, necessarily down in Nashville especially. They've made it a little more convenient for their patients, which is pretty cool because you may not have the same set of nurses who work in the White House Clinic as you do in the Westmoreland Clinic, so you kind of have that different availability.
Okay. What is the work environment like?
Some days fast, fast and crazy and chaotic. Some days pretty relaxed. It just depends on the season. Of course, seasonal is a big thing. More injuries in the summertime. More illnesses in the colder weather. So it just depends. I mean, it varies day to day.
What days and hours would be spent on the job?
Well, if you're lucky and you work in a clinic, it's going to be pretty decent hours, those daytime hours. If you work in a hospital, however, you are either going to work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you'll work 4 days straight, be off 3 days, work for 3 days, be off 4 days. So it's a 4-3 split schedule, and it's 12 hours a day when you do that. Yeah, and it's rough. And I wonder why, they get all stressed out. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, what personal traits would be helpful in succeeding in this occupation?
You have to have good bedside manner. You are seeing people who are sick and not feeling well, and if you are a grouchy person all the time, and I know some of those people, you really shouldn't be working with people because they already don't feel good. And if you are grouchy and just not a personable personality, it's just going to make them feel worse.
Yeah, and especially with kids.
Oh, yeah, especially with kids. Kids can be really super grumpy when they don't feel good. And if you are not nice and kind and loving and gentle, especially gentle, you're not going to get anything out of them.
What is the outlook expected?
Oh gosh, we will always need nurses, always. I would say at least a 15 to 20% growth, just every year, year to year. I mean, we have to have nurses because, like I said before, nurses do most of the doctor's work. Yeah, he went to school longer, but in reality, we do most of the work. They just kind of come in and confirm. Yeah, okay, yeah, that test is positive. Great, good job. Let me give you the script. That's kind of how that works.
What is most challenging and most rewarding?
Ooh, most challenging. Well, I had some pretty wild kids before. Really challenging would be the ones who don't want shots, because you have to restrain them, and that's never fun. Drawing blood from little kids is not fun because you have to strap their arm to a board, and I mean it's just not a fun scenario. And you're sticking needles in them, and they're screaming and they're kicking sometimes. And I got spit on one time, and that was gross. I mean, you get thrown up on that kind of stuff, but you can deal with that. That's not, if you're going to be a nurse, that should not be a big deal to you at all. Rewarding. I don't know, just helping people in general is rewarding. Just being available to actually care for them and help them kind of figure out what's going on. That's kind of cool. Take 47.
Do you prefer working with children when you were a nurse or working with the adults?
Ooh. Questioning adults is easier because you're going to be able to get a little more in depth with your questions. And kids, it takes it's a little bit of a struggle. Yeah. The kids are certainly sweeter than adults are, so I think it depends on the day. I mean, I've had some pretty crappy adults too, so
Yeah, that's true. Okay, what made you choose to be a nurse in the first place?
I think I'm the oldest sibling, so I think I've always had that aspect of taking care of people. So my sisters are quite a bit younger than me, and so I always kind of did that. It was just kind of a nurturing thing that I always kind of had. I don't really think I got it from anyone. I think that's just kind of how I'm wired. So I don't know, it just kind of made sense. I actually went in as an accounting and government major, which changed to nursing pretty quick. And that's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, I know, but I think I'm definitely more suited to working with people. It's just kind of I'm just service-oriented, I guess.
And then what made you stop? Because now you're a teacher.
Well, decided to have children of our own. We knew that we wanted a lot of kids, and we wanted 4 or 5. And when we had the first one, I actually went back to the clinic for a little while. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't be away from him. And so we prayed about it, and we talked about it, and we just made the choice that it would be better for our child if I left medicine, so I did. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of ended up working. Actually, I ran my own medical transcription company from home for 16 years until the youngest one was in first grade. And then I was like, I still want to be available. Do I go back to medicine? Because when you're in medicine, a lot of times you're really just not available, which is kind of sad. So you have to make that choice. But the next best thing was teaching a subject that I'm very passionate about, and that's science. So pretty much all sciences. So here I am.
Which practice did you like better?
The OBGYN or the pediatrics?
Yeah.
You see good and bad with both. I mean, I've seen a lot of like regular checkups and things like that with the kids are good, but then most of the time you're seeing them when they're sick and they're snotty and they're grumpy and they're cranky and they smell bad. And with adults, during doing obstetrics and gynecology, it's great when everything's going well. But when things don't go well with the pregnancy, it can be very devastating and very sad. And I've seen some pretty bad things as far as that goes. So I don't know. I think I've seen less bad with the little kids than with the adults.
Okay, and then last thing, do you have any funny cases with kids or anything like that you remember that would be like?
Yes. Okay.
I think you told me one.
Okay. So needles are different now that you give shots with. Okay, you give the needle, and you've seen them flip the cap back over. Okay, that used to not be a thing. Okay, so you used to have to recap and stick it back in the box. Okay, well and you screw the needles on. So when you draw the medicine out of the vial, you replace it with another new needle that's sharp and sterile. This little kid did not want a shot, and I'm talking did not want his shot. He squeezed his butt cheeks so tight that needle wasn't screwed on and it popped off. It had just the needle, and it's got a hub on it, like a little plastic hub that it connects to. He had that sticking out of his butt. The medicine just shot everywhere. Yeah, that was that was crazy. I mean, it didn't hurt him, he didn't break the needle off in his butt or anything like that, but that was a first and a last, because I was like, okay, I guess I just didn't twist it on far enough. So now that's not an issue because, they have new needles, so there you go.
Well, the more you know, I guess that's